Zoey and Nick Newcomb, welcome to Closers Club 13.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here and share our journey of the last 2.5 years with Jake and Gino.
Let's hit it. Let's
Okay.
let's talk about the deal. Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about buy right, manage right, finance right. Excellent. Go ahead.
Okay. So Nick and I are originally normal W-2 employees and decided that we needed some supplemental income. We were looking for just more to life. And so we both decided to do some single family flipping. And really quickly in, 4, 5, 6 flips in, we're talking that we need to, scale and scale quickly. So we started looking around and then found you guys. So typical journey from W-2 to multifamily. And so happy to be here.
So you were a nurse full time, and Nick
Wow.
was driving a concrete truck, and the irregularity of your schedules. He's working, summers 6 days a week, maybe 7. Wintertime it shuts down, and it's like we can't raise a family like this. This is not a way to live. And then you're mixing the flips in with that, so your schedules are all over the place. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Painting 10, 11 p.m. We were doing the work ourselves, doing the flips ourselves, typical, so
And doing
yes.
that as a nurse, I mean, that's challenging. I mean, CDL driver as well, but I saw something the other day that it's unfortunate to hear, but one of the, I don't know how to put this, but, one of the most frustrated professions right now are nurses. And I think a lot of it probably stems from COVID, but there's a lot of frustration amongst the nurses right now. Were you feeling that?
Oh, definitely. I got into it for the right reasons, and I
Yeah.
left because our healthcare system is broken, and the abuse that we suffer in that field is it's not great. So that'll get me on my soapbox though. So yes.
Well, I think it was a strong driver though to get you out though at the same time, right?
Yeah, and
Correct.
what's nice about it is, I don't know if you talk about it in the next couple of slides, but we had a conversation. You run movers and shakers. We recorded, and what I love about it is you got into multifamily. You're talking to everybody about it. It's 18 months before you get that first deal, and then all of a sudden, people are like, "I want to invest with you." And so not only do you have your deal and you're getting investors from the people but you're helping people out in that industry that can't go out and do multifamily. So you're the opportunity that they're looking for to get their money out of the stock market and to invest into multifamily. So I mean, that's what I loved about the story more than anything. Like in it for 18 months, you find the deal, and then you're not looking for money right there. You're telling people day one, this is what I'm doing. I'm already doing some single family flips. Let me create this story of, hey, I'm getting into multifamily. You don't wait, you tell everybody. So when it's time to raise money for this deal, it's already there.
That's correct. We already had it raised. Yep. Imposter syndrome was real, but we identified as multifamily real estate investors for 18 months. And one of my favorite quotes is, failure gets tired in the face of persistence. And if you don't give up, like it's going to pencil out eventually. So
I'm writing that down. Failure gets tired in the face of resistance. I love that.
Persistence. Yes. Yep.
I love that. Go ahead. Let's get this going. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So why Jake and Gino? So as we transitioned, we quickly realized that we had this lack of knowledge. We needed to find mentorship in some form or fashion. There are mentorships galore out there, and we knew we needed to dial in specifically people that aligned with our core values. And so we made sure to really vet out who we were going to do and invest with. And as far as the action side of things, we had a severe case of analysis paralysis. We were constantly underwriting, and what we found is after joining Jake and Gino, through execution of applying it, we have learned so much more through just doing it. Like, you can't be afraid, use the framework that's instilled to us from the program, and when you utilize that, your odds of failing are so much less.
I love that.
Okay. And so then a little bit more background, Gino, you touched on that originally as well. So why multifamily for us? Nick's work-life balance was awful. We never knew what time he was getting off of work. We didn't know what time he was going in till the night before. It just wasn't conducive for our balance of our marriage, for our life, anything like that. I also have a severe endocrine disorder that affects my day-to-day life. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And kind of, on one of the touch points is that, our healthcare system is extremely broken. We're in a position that I have a pre-existing condition, and healthcare is hard to come by and expensive. And, I couldn't even get the medication that I needed while having insurance. We had to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket just to be able to get some remediation for myself. So wanting to pursue that more, and part of this is so we can have that financial freedom. Yes, generational wealth, but we want to be able to leave that to someone. And for us, we need to be able to afford fertility treatments, have a family. Part of Nick's job was part of the issue, and he wants to be able to coach our kids' baseball teams and be there for that. So, and then I have a real heart passion for, the endocrine health side of things. I really want to be able to pour into that and let women especially, but all people within the health realm, men and women, that, we're affected so much by this endocrine system and people don't know enough about it. Are you fatigued? Are we listening to our bodies, on how we eat and everything like that? So as much as I love Western medicine and I am a nurse and I will always retain my license, there's so much basis to the naturopath medicine and how can we heal more proactively versus, through medication. So
wait a minute. Zoey, are you going to tell me that I should just eat strip steak for every meal? Because
Sure.
I'll sign up for that right now. No?
Yes.
Okay.
And Coors Lights. Is that what you want? You want strips Coors Lights? I don't think that's what she's saying. I think.
I just had this like warm feeling come over me, but yeah, okay. We'll move on here.
And what's really great about it is you have your why, you got it fleshed out. You joined. And what I love about it more than anything else is you took massive action, because it's education and it's also the implementation part, because it's great that you know what to do, but what's the next step? What's the next step? And as we go into your presentation, I want you to go through those next steps. Like how did you find it? How did you buy it? How did you manage it? So that's what I want to hear from you now.
Okay, so here's our deal. This one you guys are going to love, but just a quick overview. It's called Timber Nest Townhome and it is located in Kokomo, Indiana.
It reminds me of our Breckenridge deal, Gino, the way it's set. It's almost like this, residential, area, right? I love that. Yeah.
I told you, Zoey, he's going to start drooling when he hears it.
Yeah, you guys are going to love this.
Yes, the unit mixes. He's already getting excited. He was already excited at strip steak. Now he's going to get really excited.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay, so 36 townhomes, 1976 build. We sourced this on the infamous Where Deals Go to Die, Crexy and LoopNet. This one was on the market for about 12 months, if I recall correctly. And we had just listened to a masterclass Monday that really dialed into the townhomes and what you can do with those and why those are so important. And
for
so
the
we
folks
kind of
out there that don't know, that's the weekly class that Gino and I teach, just to give background there. Yeah.
Yep. And so off of that, we really dialed in on that. And so we said, hey, these are townhomes sitting on the market. Like maybe we need to take, a deeper look into this. So for those of you that aren't familiar, as far as Kokomo's location, it's about an hour north of Indianapolis. So it is in a more secondary tertiary market, but there is about 70,000 people here. And there is a huge driving force. If you're not familiar with the Stellantis battery plant, that is the mother company of Samsung, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. And earlier, within the last couple of years now, they announced that they were going to be building a $2 billion EV battery plant, and they're not even done building it, and they've announced that they're building a second one. So huge driving force for middle-class workforce. Jobs are coming and more are coming as well. So, okay. And then we'll go through our breakdown of, how we ended up vertically integrating and all that. But just to touch on that, we were anticipating, 10 to 15K. We've now got that down to 5K. And then we did some traditional financing with our buy right. And then we just put the foot pedal down and had the execution of Jake and Gino's framework of buy right and manage right. So we'll show you here next.
Get some seller financing, huh?
Yeah, you got to listen to this, baby. This is nice. You're gonna
Okay, so part of the problem was this guy, the seller, was stuck on his 2.2 million. And after some long conversations, we were able to get him, it more penciled out like that 1.8, 1.7 mark. And we said, hey, listen, if you'll carry down the down payment, we will give you your 2.2. And so we got the small bank loan for the 1.7 and then got the seller carry for the 4.4, 440K. And then we got him for 0% interest with a 5-year balloon payment. So nice. We built in some 2-year extension, but yes, so that was great. And then as Gino alluded to it,
0%.
0%, yes.
Can you show?
How did you do that?
I mean, he'd been on the market for however long. We said, if he started to come down in price, but he was trying to counter us, right? Like, well, what about, this or that? And so it was just I would say 2 to 3 45-minute conversations with the seller as far as like, we understand that this is your stuck price, but this is give and take. If you want this 2.2, we're going to take on the terms, right? And so this is what we can do. And it worked. So.
And Jake, the crazy part is, I mean, when you go into the per unit cost is $61,000 per unit for townhomes.
It's
And
beautiful.
like, this is above the 1% rule, in place. And, the amount of work.
Well, and it looks like a subdivision. People want to live in these places.
Yeah.
And I'm just still, look, Gino and I have negotiated a fair amount of seller finance deals and never come close to scratching 0%. So hats off to you, lady. That is amazing.
And it's
That's so
great.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, definitely got help from our partners as far as like negotiation goes and having their skill set along with that. But yeah, definitely team effort. So, and then Nick and I raised a 300K. And as Gino alluded to earlier, we were telling anyone and everyone, elevator pitch, friends and family, that this is what we are doing. And along with a couple coworkers, nurses, other concrete mixer drivers, and some relatives, we were able to pull together the 300K. And then we only actually ended up needing to take the 225.
So he says, Zoey, could you touch on how the bank loan got approved with zero money out of your pocket? Feel free. So it's a sticking point. They want skin in the game. So how did the bank say yes to this? So we've done a deal like this before.
Mm-hmm.
We did an $11 million deal, whereas 80% bank and 20% seller. And the funny thing was, to answer Jack's question on our end, they weren't taking any really risk. The seller was in the second position. So if we didn't pay, the bank was just, okay, no, all cool. So the seller would just have to take the deal back. And there was really no risk on that because we got it at such a good price point. I mean, even with this, I mean, if a bank's
really a very good price point.
Yeah, if the bank's going to have to take this back, that's what they weigh. They weigh the pros and cons. It's a good asset in a good market with really a low basis of $61,000 per unit. To rebuild this asset, I'm assuming it's probably going to be $150,000 a door. So they're not taking a massive risk. But I mean, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, all that's correct. And so just to break down a little bit more, it was on the market for a really long time. And we were able to show them in the underwriting that they had some CapEx in their operational expenses. So that was killing their NOI. So we were very quickly able to show them that this was going to function within our underwriting. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we had other partners on board and, we operate on full transparency. So we wanted to make sure that the bank was going to be okay with this. There was no behind the door, second position stuff. Like it was taking our partners to get on the phone with the bank, and it was a small bank. So a lot of it just took for them to get conversations with some of the upper branch managers and CFOs and stuff and say, hey, this is what we're looking to do, and explaining to them what the purpose of this is. And they were okay. They agreed to it. So just the full transparency.
You can get community and regional banks comfortable with deals like this too. So that's not that, yeah.
And before you go to the next slide, you can go to the next slide, but you raised 300 in CapEx. So you do have skin in the game. See, the bank sees your business plan. They see that you're serious. They see that you have buy right and finance right. Now that you have manage right, because you have a budget and you're going to do all these repairs. So you're not just walking in there going, I'm not going to put any money into this deal. You're putting $200,000 of money into their deal because they're financing 80%. The bank is your biggest partner. So they want to see that you're going to execute. And when you have money that you're raising for CapEx, they're like, dude, great. This is what I want to see. So I think that answers the question as well. You are bringing money, but you're putting it back into the deal.
Well, and to be clear too, right? Like Nick and I did not have the net worth for this. Like we brought this deal strategically to our partners, knowing that they were successful operators, and said, hey, listen, like this is our first deal. We found this, it underwrites, like let us, sell you on this. And it didn't take much, right? So I think choosing to be with the right people is so important, and to drive that home, because you are married to your partners for the entirety that you own that property. So they were really strategic and awesome in helping with this. And, their net worth was, fully capable of handling this as well. So
Harold, it's 36 units. And, the operating partners join Jake and Gino. I mean, that's the community. There's a lot of people in the community. When you're looking for people and you're looking for specific skill sets, that's what the Jake and Gino community offers. There's people that are raising capital. There's people that are key principals. There's people that are operating deals. It's all different people in the community itself. And I mean, the analysis to know NOI, I mean, that's just, Zoey was on every weekly lesson possible. She's come to like 17 of our boot camps. She's there every week. She's got a notebook taking notes all the time. She's going to be at the April manage right. So it's a lot of work. The underwriting, it's not that it's difficult. You just need reps. I mean, I'm sure she'll tell you she's underwritten over 100 deals at least in the market, and just doing the more reps. The more reps you get, the better you're going to get at understanding income versus expenses, NOI, CapEx, debt service coverage ratio, all of those different metrics. You start learning that once you're in the community.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So now just to paint this picture a little bit, sunshine and rainbows, the ink dries. Where's the money made after the ink dries? And so we were 10 months in, stuff starts hitting the fan. We had a very psychotic resident on some heavy meds, chasing people around with machetes, like just not great. So we're in the process of evicting her, and she burns down 2 of the units. It takes us about 10 additional months to get the insurance check. And now we're finally elected to rebuild 1 of the 2. And so that's where we're at now. So now it is technically 35. But now you continue on. We're 12 months in, and our third property management company is failing us. They are evicting people that are paying, but because they don't meet their technical income requirements, they're non-renewing or kicking them out. And we had 10 vacants at one point. The stars kind of aligned for us. The GPs did have to inject $80K to keep the ship afloat in the middle of all of this. I was on the cuff of leaving my W-2 and had some stuff happen where I really felt morally obligated to leave with some stuff that was going on. And we decided to have some conversations amongst our partners, like, hey, we've had the intention of wanting to self-manage. We joined Jake and Gino. We understand the leverage that you can have with vertically integrating. And they also had that on the radar for themselves as well. And so the 3 of us joined hands and said, hey, let's do this together and we'll all benefit. They had some extra doors in Kokomo as well. So I left my W-2 and took on the full pleasure of being a property manager. So
yeah,
yes.
That's awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so now what? So trying to backpedal a little bit here. We did try to maintain that property management partnership. He was not of the right mindset. We wanted to be transparent with him. He knew that it was short term anyways, because he was out of Terre Haute trying to manage from out of the area, and we just could not get his mindset to want to mentor me. And so truthfully, we had to fire him, and it just went feet in first and hey, hope we can survive. So it was a little bit scary. But we went from 70% occupied across all 165 doors to now 98% occupied, and have now taken over an additional 122 in Kokomo.
Wow. Do you have any more slides about this deal? Because I want to ask you a couple more questions. Is that the last?
No, go ahead. Yep.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. This is great. I was going to ask you about some numbers.
Yeah. Just so business plan, right? So after we vertically integrated, we put in the manage right basis and elected to handle getting as much CapEx in-house as we could.
You worked with Jennifer on that, right, Zoey?
Say that again?
You work directly with Jennifer on
all the time. I meet with her every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit. So Jennifer's our COO of our property management team, and she speaks so highly of you. So I just love to hear how that relationship's going.
So great. I value her so much, and I would not be here without her. It was truly remarkable, just her wealth of knowledge, and just
she's seen some things.
She has seen some things. There's nothing that I bring to her that she doesn't have the answer for. So that's amazing, because I'm able to just ping one-offs on her and say, hey, at the beginning, it was very structured, right, with how our meetings went, but now it's more touch and go, hey, this is what I'm encountering this week. This is where I was thinking about handling this. How do you think I should, or is this what you advise? And so, and there's some things on as far as Tennessee law versus Indiana law, there's always times that she refers, me over to the attorney, rightfully so. But when she's able to assist, which is quite often, it's very valuable.
So you're talking about weekly pulses, you're talking about property logs, you're talking about the cadences of accountability.
Starting a property management company.
KPIs.
KPIs, SOPs, all of that. So all of those lagging metrics, all of the things to get ahead of it, to get everybody else. So as we continue to build this and I continue to pull out more, we're able to have the people on the ground that understand and buy into what we're trying to do.
This is awesome. So look at this. You're bringing down the cost from 15 to 5. You're installing RUBS, which is ratio utility billing systems, which you're billing back to the tenants. You got a 10-year hold and exit. Look, so Jake, take a
And
look at that.
nice looking units, Gino. Look, I
I
mean, these
know.
things, you want to live in places like
But
this.
take a look at this, baby. 1095 for 2 beds at 61K a door. If you're into this thing for 75K a door and you're getting 1100 for rents, that is a nice looking deal, my friend.
Regardless, we got 108 people on the line right now. Regardless of your experience in multifamily, that should tell you that this deal is going to cash flow, right? You don't need a fancy calculator to do the math on that, right?
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Unless you got really bad debt, this thing's working pretty damn well.
So you're going to refi in 3 to 5 years, and that's what you're looking for. And I think one of the benefits to this, as we were talking about on the Movers and Shakers podcast that we recorded, hardly anything like this in the market, which is great. So you have a unique asset here, and like Jake said, it's in great condition even from the exteriors. So this is something where in your buy right criteria, you can hold this for 10 years. It's not going to get old. It's not going to age itself. Like there's not a lot of capex requirements, and you're still going to be able to reposition this thing, be able to refinance all that capital out, get money for yourself, and then go move on to the next deal. Correct?
Correct.
That's awesome. That is great.
And none of that stuff that you had, there's the RUBS, all that mom and pop ownership wasn't doing any of that, correct?
None of that. No, this guy, not that he
Not
came
speaking poorly about him, but these are strategic moves that you need to make, right?
Yeah. And I think he was done with it. He came in to do the capex and either ran out of money. He did the exterior, didn't pay much, didn't want to invest into the inside. He just kind of wanted to dispose of it and be done with it. And so, we walked in and were able to do the interior since a lot of the exterior got updated. So it was great.
That's unfortunate. I mean, he left a lot of money on the table. So.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So for us, what's next? So, we kind of talked about it a little bit as far as the exit strategy goes, what we're looking to do, invest investors out in 1 to 2 years. We are very prideful in our underwriting. I want to be very clear with that. We are in this Indiana market. It's not flashy like the East Coast or Florida. We are tried and true. We love the cash flow and then forcing that appreciation. And really, like, you'll look at our offerings that we send to people, extremely conservative. You're not going to see, a 3x, equity multiplier. You're not going to see a 25% IRR. We are extremely conservative, but we want to overperform, right? We want to promise, not under deliver. So that's how we position that. We are currently doing, in the midst of repositioning 122 units as well. At takeover, we had some fun stuff just to touch on that. We found an additional 10 vacant units. We were anticipating 20. And at the week of close, we found out about 60 people weren't paying their rent. And we are less than 90 days in, and we are down to 8 vacants and $4,000 worth of delinquency in our last 0 to 30. So
I guess those conversations with Jennifer Outland from Jake and Gino are doing a lot of good. They're making you a lot of money, because that is phenomenal. I mean, Jake and I were talking about it today. What's the most expensive thing in multifamily, Jake? What'd you say on the podcast today?
A vacant unrented unit. Okay, not just the vacant unrented, and there's a difference for those that know. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing moving fees, Zoey?
So we do security deposit right now. We're back and forth on doing the move-in fees.
Okay.
This is awesome. That is great.
We'll get you there.
Yeah.
Actually,
and then so, right. And so we're adding an additional 48 units here shortly. And then goal for us in the next couple of years is to really scale our PM company. We're running it and operating it as a third-party property management company. So hopefully we can, look to help others. And I really take pride in the way that we're doing this and operating, and I want to be able to help others get that success as well. So, long-term here within the next couple of years, we should be able to also offer this for others as well.
That's awesome. The honeybee in action, multifaceted, multifamily. You got your assets making money. You got your property management making money. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Multiple streams of revenue. Yeah, this is beautiful. Great job, Zoey.
Thank you. Yep. And so then, I think slow and steady is the right thing here too. You see a lot of people closing deals left and right. We take a lot of pride in being on the non-sexy side, and we're okay with that. If we're slow growth and we're 2 to 4 deals a year and we can operate well, we know that we're set up for success with what you guys have taught us. So
I agree. And if you're doing even 1 to 2 deals a deal, but they're really excellent deals and you can reposition them in the next 5 years, you're going to look back and go, wow, I've got another 500 or 600 units. Where did that come from? And they're stable and you're going to be dialing in your systems. And as you're working and as you're scaling up, you keep having those conversations with Jennifer and there's a lot of those. And then all of a sudden you hit the 500 unit mark. That's regional. You're going to have to hire a regional. She can help you with that as well. So there's going to be a lot of, I guess you're going to have a lot of inflection points as you continue to go on. This is great.
And that's why we believe in buying deals for the long term. It's compounding. You look back 10 years from now and what you're doing, you're going to go, what the hell just happened? And financially be very rewarded for it. So
this is great. Excellent. Where's your contact information? If you want to schedule a call to Jake and Gino team, after you heard about this, just click on the QR code. But more importantly, I want you to share your contact information, because if anybody's got questions specifically, because I think Jack put a question about supplemental debt because the repositioning. I mean, you can talk to Zoey about, hey, she's in community, she's going to go from community to agency. We've taught her on that. How did she find her partners? Basically, how did you build your PM company? Someone's asking that question. That could be, or did you join another PM company? I wasn't clear. So Swetha, what she basically did, what Zoey basically did was she has a coach at Jake and Gino called Jennifer Outland, and Jennifer is the property management coach. If you're looking to, either hire third party or create your own, she's great, because hiring third party is as if you're being the asset manager. You're managing the property manager and you still need KPIs. And I think Zoey in the beginning said, hey, third party sounds pretty good, but that's not my goal. My goal is to really do this full time. And hey, I can get these property management fees for myself. So let me quit my job. I'll do this full time. I'll drive the performance of this asset. I'll get more profit per unit if I manage it myself. And let me have Jennifer, teach me, walk me through the different steps and the different pain points of how to manage this deal.
Yep, spot on.
Phone number, email, and social.
Mm-hmm.
Any final
Not
word?
like that though. Social media. So he's not the TSA, right?
Yes.